everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going through my fall TBR, and this is going to consist mostly of books that I either already have on my shelf but haven't gotten to yet, or books that I have checked out from the library that I think could kind of fall in that category of fall reads. So for me, a fall read is usually something that is either, it could be set in the fall, or preferably I love to read horror, thrillers, things that are very like atmospheric, maybe something that's more like cozy. I feel like I have more patience for like big chunky books in the fall and winter, maybe just because I spend more time indoors during those months. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this stack I have down by my chair. It's not really in any particular order, and it's kind of a mix of library books and ones that I own. Okay, so first one I have here is The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. And I went through a phase when I was 18, like my senior year of high school and then beyond, into college a little bit, where I really liked Haruki Murakami. Yes? I really liked Haruki Murakami. And I started with Kafka on the Shore because that was what someone had recommended to me, and I liked it. I will say, if you've never read Haruki Murakami, his books are very bizarre and weird and kind of abstract, almost like magical realism too, where you just don't really know what's for sure going on. It's not so weird that you can't figure it out at all, but it is definitely not like straightforward. And he's a Japanese author, by the way, so his books are also translated. So Wind-Up Bird Chronicle is, I think, probably one of his top two books that you'll hear about. So Kafka on the Shore and then this one are probably what he's most well known for. And I've always heard really great things about the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. Okay, next I have a book I mentioned last time. I am at my maximum renewals for this book, so I have about a week to read it if I'm gonna read it this time, or I'm gonna have to recheck it out. And that is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. And since I talked about it last time, I won't really go into it a ton, but this is kind of like a detective maybe, or police thriller. Sorry if you hear crinkling in the background. My cats are psycho. Anyway, this is either, I think, kind of like a detective thriller or a police thriller, also a Japanese author. So I think it could fit into a good fall reading list. And then I have a sequel to a book I read last year during the time that I was furloughed when COVID was first starting to go crazy here in the States. The first book is actually back there on my shelf. Back there, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This one is the sequel. It's called Children of Ruin, and this is on the list. It's a sci-fi, but this is on the list, and I think it can count, because in the first book, this is not a spoiler, in the first book there's a lot of discussion about spiders. I won't say anything more than that, but I'm hoping the spiders make a return in this book, because then we can totally count it as a fall read. And I also never thought I would say something like, I hope the spiders return, because I hate spiders. But they're not, okay, so they're not described in a creepy way. Like, it's not meant to scare you. You're actually meant to kind of empathize with them, and they're almost, I cannot think of the word, anthropomorphized, made human-like. You kind of get in the spiders' minds a little bit, so we'll see if they come back in the sequel. Next, this is the third book in a series that has, I don't know how many books, 8+ for sure, I believe. And this is Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shannon McGuire. This is from the Wayward Children series, and they're super short, kind of weird, and I think each book can kind of almost be a standalone. It's an interesting concept where it's about these children who go through a door and it takes them to like a magical, fantastical world that really suits them. But then if they walk back through the door into the real world, they can't get back. And so there's this school in the first book that takes care of these children because they're just not able to live in modern society anymore, because they're just so like, they're still kind of like stuck in that world they were from, or they're also just like yearning to go back, and they don't understand why they can't go back, and like their families are just like, I don't know what you're talking about, this is so weird, I think something's wrong with you. I read the second book a few months ago and it was lovely. Nice little gothic fairy tale. This one, I believe, is following the child of one of the kids we met in the first book. These are just a great little quick read. Okay, next, another book that I talked about last time and still haven't read, and I don't really have any excuses anymore, is Housekeeping by Marilynne Robinson. So as I said in my last video, I actually started this and got, I think, maybe 50 pages into it before I had to return it to the library. So I just need to finish it. I'm gonna start from the beginning because that was over a year ago, but this is really short. It's supposed to be fantastic literature. I'm counting this as a fall read because I know it's kind of like a grim, grungy, like very cold town in, I think, like Minnesota or Canada. But look, it has this like foggy, misty train track, and you just know that everything's gonna be like cold and dreary. So I'm counting that as a fall read. Next, this is a book that has been on my shelf for way too long and I need to read it. I'm excited to read it. I just have been putting it off because I'm scared that I'm going to be disappointed, which I probably won't be. And that is Circe by Madeline Miller. So this is counting as a fall read because Circe is like a Greek witch on her little isolated island. And I'm excited to read this because she is not going to be a typical female character who is submissive or does what a man wants her to do. She's weird and creepy and does her own thing and is powerful. So I'm excited to read this. Madeline Miller's writing is very like lush, and you can really see these like rich images of ancient Greece and like smell the air and like see the trees and like the dusty white rocks. It's really pretty writing, so I need to just do it. Is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is one of those books where it's kind of that idea of you're living the same day over and over again. I believe in this one, the main character, like he's reliving the same day in the same party where Evelyn Hardcastle is murdered, and he has to solve it. And he wakes up as a different guest at the party each day. I've heard kind of mixed reviews on this, and I haven't read anything by this author yet, so if I like him, I'll read his other books, but we'll see. I'm not really sure what to expect because it's kind of long. It's The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I think I had just recently finished the guest list when I bought this, and I was all hyped up on the guest list, which is kind of a hit or a miss with most people, I think. I loved it. It just grabbed me right into its pages, and I was swept away on the windy island, and it was a fun little ride that I finished in a few hours. Like I could not put it down because it just kept going and going and going. Now I've heard, and just from reading the back of the book, I can also come to this conclusion. This kind of sounds like it might be the same story, but just a different setting. So we'll see. Because if it is, then that's kind of weird that she would be able to publish that twice, but you know what? If it's really fun, maybe I won't care. We'll see. This is the book I am currently reading. I started it last night, which was kind of a mistake because it's really good. And I wanted to stay up and read it, but I had to limit myself to just one chapter. And that is The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo. Super pretty cover. This is somewhat of a retelling of The Great Gatsby. And it is told through the eyes of Jordan Baker, who is the tennis player who is friends with Daisy in the original Great Gatsby. And this is really piquing my interest so far because it's, how do I describe this? It feels like it is totally written in the same style as The Great Gatsby. Granted, it's been probably since high school that I read The Great Gatsby, but it just has that same kind of feeling to it, which I'm really enjoying because it feels very true to the original or true to its inspiration, but it's kind of fleshing out the story more and possibly taking it in a different direction. I don't know yet, but I really like it so far. It does have some magical elements to it, so we're counting it as a fall read. but I like it. I love retellings. I think they're so much fun. I'm thinking I'll probably finish this in a few days because it's not very long and I love it. This one I did mention in my last video. I don't think I've maxed out my renewals yet, so I do have a little bit more time to read it. But this I think is just that classic, perfect fall read. And that is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. Now this, I'm hoping, is just a creepy, kind of messed up horror, because that's what I need in especially October. I'm the most ready for the creepy, messed up books. So I'm hoping that's what this is. And it's really long, so I hope it's good and good enough to carry itself through almost 700 pages. So that is all I have physically to share with you for my fall TBR. Now, as I've said before, I am a mood reader, so chances are pretty good that when I go to the library to return these books that I can no longer renew, I will possibly go through the shelves and maybe just pick up a few more. Who can know? Not me. We'll see what this lovely fall season holds. I will also tell you, I can't believe I didn't mention this before. Okay, so I have on this sweater that's like a faux turtleneck that's super cozy and soft. Yeah, I have the sweater on because it's a fall video and I wanted to look like I was ready for fall, but it is 86 degrees outside today. So I have the fan on, I have the AC blasting because I was sweating. I have shorts on to try to compensate, but I am toasty. That's all I have. I hope you all have a lovely season of spooky, creepy fall, cozy reading, and I will see you all next time. Bye.